suppose it's time to sort of discuss or clarify what I'm up to, what's happening these days. I sort of hunt depending on the herd. So a lot of you guys might go back through the videos and you might find that video where I was laying it out pretty clear that I was shooting everything. And that would have been 2015 or 16ish. Maybe a little 17, but I doubt it was 17, it's probably earlier than that. And the reason that I was shooting everything back then was there was a lot of deer around. There was heaps of deer. There's a lot of deer around. They were all encroaching onto the private land, and we were becoming, through the communities, it was becoming an issue. These farmers weren't too happy, so there was public forum meetings, wild deer info meetings, all this sort of shit. I was sort of building myself up to potentially try and do some culling, you know. All my access was on the back of property and into the hills from there, so I was shooting every deer. I thought that'd be friggin' awesome, just to stalk around, shoot deer, drag them out of the bush, go get some money for it. Went to all the forums and sussed out a lot of info, and it became apparent that there was a few hoops to jump through and that it was a night shooter's game. So if you remember there a while ago when it was all fresh and happening for this harvesting, the local spotlighters, the first ones to put their hand up, and are possibly the ones still doing it, you know. Never saw bloody old legends think, oh, go get some money off these deer, drive around and spotlight them all night. It was all just this young modern generation who perceived the deer as pest. Not the case. So as times evolved, I copped a bit of shit for shooting all those deers back in the day and shooting young stags and all that sort of shit. And that sort of does hit home after a while, to a degree, and you start thinking, yeah, hang on, what are we doing? But back then it was cool because what were we doing? We're shooting deer, there was heaps of deer. I was within 2k's of properties and we're shooting them. Perfect. Not getting $1 off it, just shooting them, just learning how to hunt sambar and stalking sambar. It's bloody awesome actually. Time's gone on. A lot more people into deer shooting now. A lot more people into wanting stags. And a lot more technology changing the game of what it was. So the harvesting ramped up and that all happened, that was all good and well, and it was problem solving areas that needed attention, private land. But somehow along those lines it's got very blurred, and it's like there's a blanket that goes over the whole fucking Victoria, and it means kill deer, spotlights, thermals, anyhow. Some abattoirs are even taking the meat locally, which is could be argued, and paying shooters for that. So it got pretty loose. It's getting pretty loose, okay? I find some guys up in the bushes now and then looking for deer. Everyone's sort of got the same gripe. The stags are all shot down by the roads, or the high country is flooded with thermals. It is what it is. That's your choice, you know. That's against all rules and regulations. If that's what you're going to do, good on you, man. Once people know that you're finding your deers or whatever with thermals, credibility will go out the window. So all good, go your artist. I want to build up a guiding business or an outfitting business that people can come with me. We do some pretty good adventures for 3-4 days, chasing sambar deer. The old school way, the proper way. This is real hard in this day and age due to those fires, 2020. My area's still got deer in it, okay, but they're not in anywhere near the number that they were. On top of that, the shooters are driving around and targeting the stag. So there should be plenty of deer in the next few years because there's plenty of hinds still out there. The bottom line is the hinds will breed. The stag will come in from 2 postcodes away. If he's rooted all that, you know, no one's out here, well, stags will move in. Fact. So that all happened. Then the fires. Changed me life out there in those weeks after the fire. Looking at those deer, you know. I love chasing them, I love shooting them. I love their elusiveness, I love the challenge. But what that 2020 sort of shown me was that I actually love these deer a little bit more than probably the average bloke, and that these are my angels of sorts. For example, not having a great day, so I've come up here to look for deer, which is what happened yesterday, and I saw those deer and I saw that stag, or those stags, so it was great. Took my mind off shit, and I'm actively, physically being a part of this bush right now. And I fucking love that. And after seeing those deer in that situation with those fires, those survivors are strong buggers, you know. That's what's out here now. These deer out here, they're survivors from the fires. Unless it's 4 foot tall, it's a survivor from the fires. Period. The fire didn't take just stags, didn't take just does. It took whatever was in the way, whatever was maybe not strong enough to survive those days later. What we're doing is we're just shooting stags, you know. I know some guys that are walking like, by the looks, 2 days into backcountry and shooting 25-inch stags. Which, you know, that's mature. It's a mature stag. But the deer's never mounted or done much else apart from thrown in the shed. What gets showcased here is the shooting skill, or the camera work, or the shooting on film. I love getting them on camera, I love shooting them on camera. Just the priorities have changed and the herd's changed. The structure of the herd has been hugely smashed with those fires and the ongoing illegal shooting. This valley particularly, I could go down there now and film 7 to 10 large antlered or large bodied mature salmon stag carcasses. And here I am looking at 20-incher and a fucking 24-incher, you know. And everyone wants that 30-incher. The 30-incher isn't just hiding up out of sight, or you don't walk this way and he walks that way, or you don't go around the tree this way and he goes that way. Yeah, they're out there, but they're very few and far between. And what I keep banging on about is these deer cross tracks. They cross openings, they cross tracks, they come to the paddocks. They go up to the campgrounds. The people camp at campgrounds, they drive around. You can see the tracks on the road. Any campground, within a K each side, there'll be turnaround points. Explain to me what that is. That is 100% guys driving up the road at night, spotlighting or thermal. Potentially spotlighting because not everyone can afford the thermal. What's that mean? People travel from Queensland, Melbourne, Sydney to come down and hunt these deer. They stay in that campground. They're looking for stags. Some of them never shot a stag. Some of them are waiting to see, oh, I want to shoot that big one. Unfortunately, it's going to take a whole lot of luck and a little bit more luck for them to get that mature stag from these areas. Yeah, the flip side is, oh, why don't they go up in the fucking bush, in the park? Well, what just happened in the park? Government and the Parks Victoria paid a whole bunch of blokes to thermal the Alpine Park, every aspect of it. This was after they spent some crazy amount of millions flying helicopters around to try and shoot the deer. That hurts a little bit for wanting to try and promote this whole fucking Samba deer, public land, adventure, life experiences learning about yourself, learning to respect an animal and the bush that's around that animal, makes it very fucking difficult to want to push that. There's organisations which are trying to run hunters which can't fucking... no good much. And there's other organisations which are promoting the hunting and whatnot. Some in a political sense, some just in general. It's sort of not enough, I guess. Like, they put adverts of thermals in their books. They have thermal dudes at their speaking nights. They have, it's fucking backwards, to be honest. The boat sailed to the thermal, so it's not really one where you can regulate that anymore. It's gone, it's sailed. It's more just up to the blokes to draw their line and say, oh, that's where I'm at with my hunting and I'm going to use thermal. Fucking so be it. There should be just a bit more like openness about that thermaling stuff. I know a lot of dudes, like particularly myself, pride myself a lot on sambar stalking and sambar hunting. So I bang on about a lot of shit that's legal and very much dislike all this illegal activity. Why? Same old story, shortcutting, disrespecting the game, taking game from licensed hunters, doing it the right way, in right places, a whole list of reasons. We've still got a doe problem. You've got to shoot the does realistically, especially if you're within that 1 to 2k of farm fringe. What you do out in the back country is not such a big deal. But I know for a fact I won't be walking into the Moroka for a week to try and find the 24 inches that old bro didn't shoot. And the backpacking, it's got real popular in that Moroka, so like there's some other dudes doing some videos where they're sort of whinging about not finding mature stags, only the next day to shoot a fucking 24 incher. Doesn't make sense. But like, I think they saw 10 plus does, a lot of does, didn't kill any of them. So you don't kill any of them, they have a baby next year, 50-50 if it's a boy or a girl. 6 years to know if it's a trophy or not, minimum. It's like a lot of there's a lot coming into this. Back in the day, for the last 50 years, deer have just been breeding. The thermals and spotlights and the people just haven't been so dirty on it and just trying to kill deer. So there was enough around, but mate, not many big ones out there. That's what we're sort of wanting. When I come up here and glass deer or stalk around deer, wouldn't it be better if you were sitting up on a hill looking and, oh shit, there's a stag. Oh shit, there's a stag. Oh, another stag. At the moment, doe. Oh, is that a stag? No, doe. Stags are down on this road, man. Rant over. Think about what's happening. Think about what you're doing. Think about just overall big picture, more bigger stags, more stags in general, less deer overall, females, in the problem zones. It's almost worth noting that don't shoot does in Alpine National Park. If they believe they're going to cull them every so many years with helicopters, make a job for them. Fuck it. That boat sailed too. They've lost all my respect. I will still abide by rules and still do my thing in the park in terms of trophy hunt and guide people for does, meat, but as far as that goes, that's another little kettle of fish where State Forest, Alpine Park, State Forest is worth leaving things a little bit. The hounds aren't everywhere yet, and the park, well, it's been thrashed up, so fuck, let's breed them in there, and park's gonna have a real issue with the deer. Anyway, I've got to get up here and look for these fucking deer. Sick of talking about this shit, just sort of was worth mentioning that that's where I'm at, and that's why I used to shoot heaps of deer. That's why now I don't so much bang on about wanting to shoot deers and banging on about bigger stags, because that's where we're at. herd smashed. It needs some TLC, some respect thrown into it, and some conservative shooting. This stag mentality is just fucking gnarly.